So guys, today we just got some news stuff to go over in terms of pre-download as well as Twitch drops for Season 0. And then we're also going to be covering the 5 brand new heroes, those being Iron Fist, Squirrel Girl, Wolverine, Black Widow, and Cloak and Dagger, because all their trailers have been released. So we're going to cover those as well and go over their abilities that we see in the trailer. First off, let's just go over the pre-download information that you guys need to know. So today is December 4th, and with that, the pre-download for Marvel Rivals should be going live. So if you're on PC, either Steam or Epic Games, you should be able to now pre-download the game ahead of its December 6th release date. Now, this does not mean that you'll be able to play the game right now. You'll obviously have to wait until December 6th like everyone else. But this just means that when December 6th comes around, you will be able to immediately load up the game and start playing. Sadly, if you're on consoles, those being PlayStation and Xbox, you will need to download the game on December 6th because it seems like there is no pre-download for you guys. And that's basically it for all the pre-download information. Next, let's talk about Twitch drops for Season 0. So there seems to be 2 different set of Twitch drops. One includes an entire suite of cosmetic items for the Magneto character, and then the next one just includes a spray for, I believe, every character. So first up, on December 6th, running until December 31st, you'll be able to get a Magneto Will of Galactica spray if you watch for 30 minutes. If you watch for an hour, you'll get a Will of Galactica Magneto nameplate. If you watch for 2 hours, you'll get a Magneto Cosmic Collapse emote. And if you watch for 4 hours, you'll get a Magneto Will of Galactica costume. Now, you just need to watch any person who is streaming Marvel Rivals, I believe, for those amounts of time to get these specific rewards. And you'll probably need to link up your Marvel Rivals account to your Twitch account, or just get a code from Twitch and input it into Marvel Rivals for any of those items. And then for the second Twitch drop starting on December 20th and going until the 29th, if you watch any streamer for 1 hour, you'll be able to get the Winter Stockings spray. A little bit festive there, since we are getting closer and closer to Christmas. And that's basically it for Twitch drop stuff. Now let's move on to the character reveal trailers that we've gotten over the last couple of days. These include Iron Fist, Squirrel Girl, Black Widow, Cloak and Dagger, and then Wolverine. First up, in terms of the character reveal trailers, let's go over Squirrel Girl here. She seems to have 3 main abilities, her ult, and then obviously her main primary fire. So for her primary fire, she has this slingshot, which she is able to throw out explosive acorns from. These act kind of like Junkrat's grenades, so they bounce off walls and can explode in enemies' faces. You can also angle these around different walls and stuff, as you can see in the trailer, which could be quite fun. Then for her main ability, she has a little tail jump, it seems, which can be good for movement. Then she also has a giant acorn, which she is then able to throw, and it seems that it's able to actually root targets in the ground, so it's able to keep targets there, which will then allow you to easily line up your primary fire, or just allow your teammates to jump on that one guy. And then her third ability seems to be a way of just refreshing her other 2 main abilities. So if you want to, you could throw 2 giant acorns, or you could jump twice, which could also just be very useful there. And then finally, for her ult, she seems to send out this army of squirrels in a general direction, and these squirrels seem to act similarly to her primary fire, where they bounce off walls. So if you send this down a tight corridor, this ult could actually be really, really strong. Now, next up here, we have Iron Fist, who just overall, by looking at this trailer, seems so fun to play, and it's going to be great in the hands of people who understand this kit completely. So first up, he has a wall run, which you're able to see here at the beginning of the trailer. Alongside that, he also has 3 or maybe 4 extra jumps. So his movement is just going to be absolutely insane. And his primary fire is similar to that of Spider-Man, where he just punches people in a melee combo style attack. Yeah, very interesting stuff in just terms of his melee combat, and he's able to just weave in and out of enemy attacks, which is also very satisfying to go and see. Then next up, he has this kind of counter ability, which seems to be like a perfect parry situation. So if you watch the trailer itself, you can see that he does this parry move as soon as he gets hit by an attack, and then he also gains a certain amount of health as well if he does that perfectly, which seems to be kind of a skill gap there for the character. So if you're using this just willy-nilly, you probably aren't going to be getting all the benefits from this, but if you time those counters perfectly, you are going to be getting a little bit of health back as well, which seems to be very, very strong. Then for his second ability, he seems to have this spin kick move, which can be seen pushing Magneto off of a ledge. So it seems to be a good option there for getting people off you, but also an additional source of damage to be weaved in and out of your basic melee combo. And then next up, he has a self-heal, which is pretty self-explanatory. hovers in the air and just heals himself back up. Seems to only last a couple of seconds, but probably once again going to be a skill thing where if you use this in the open, you're probably just going to die, unless if you take damage, you immediately get out of it. But it seems to be more of a strategic heal rather than just a panic heal button that you see on other characters. Finally here, we once again see him just absolutely annihilate people with the counter and his melee combo. You can see on his reticle, more perfectly here, that he has this kind of meter system. So I don't know if this is just by dealing damage or by countering people that he then gets a buff to all of his normal attacks as well. So yeah, overall really, really strong character. And then finally here, for his ultimate, he seems to just gain a general buff to all of his abilities and gain health back on kills. So as you can see in this trailer, he just goes absolutely wild on the enemy team, gaining increased damage, I'm guessing, on all of his attacks. He then also seems to generate health back on kill and just a decreased cooldown as well on all of his abilities. So overall, very strong character. He's going to be very, very good in the hands of a good player and probably not as good in terms of someone who's just spamming abilities. Definitely going to be a high skill character and one to keep an eye out on heading into launch. Now next up here, let's talk Black Widow, who is definitely going to be a problematic character on launch just from the looks of this gameplay trailer. First up, she has two primary weapons to go over. She has a sniper rifle and her baton sticks, which can seem to be used for melee. I believe Moon Knight has a similar thing where he has his like moon discs, and then he also has these sticks which he can smack people with. So Black Widow here seems to have a similar thing with her sniper as well as her own form of melee weapon. So interesting stuff there. But going into her sniper rifle, which seems to be her main source of damage here for a primary attack, she has an aim down sights ability. So obviously first ever character to have ADS in the game, and just from the gameplay here, she seems to be a very problematic character with just being able to one-shot basically anybody who isn't a tank hero. So probably going to get nerfed on release, or probably going to get begged to be nerfed on release. One thing to notice is that there's no charge up time, it seems, with these sniper rifle shots. It just seems to be a aim down sight, shoot and kill situation, unlike an Overwatch where you had to charge up Widowmaker's sniper to then get a one-shot kill. Black Widow here just seems to be able to aim down, shoot immediately, and get those guaranteed kills, at least with a headshot. Body shots do seem to not one-shot, which is good, unless you have low health, in which case you will just die. But overall, her weapon seems very, very powerful. Moving on though to her two main abilities, she has a sprint, which is pretty self-explanatory. She's just able to move quicker. But then her second ability seems to be a kick, similar to that of Iron Fist, where it kind of pushes enemies away, but then also can change into a grappling hook, which can then pull you towards enemies. Now, one thing to note is that I don't know if this ability has to be used immediately one after the other, so you kick the enemy away and then immediately grapple towards them, or if this kick can be used to kick enemies away and then you can turn around and grapple to a different point in general. That'll be an interesting thing to try out. And then finally, for her ultimate, she actually goes first person for this, which is the first character, I believe, to have this ability. And she actually creates like the slowing field, which is able to slow down enemies caught in it. Now, it kind of acts similar to an Iron Man ult, where she shoots out this plasma ball, and then it just leaves an area of effect, which, if you're caught in it, will just slow you down, it seems. It slows down the movement of everyone, allowing you to then more easily line up those headshots and get those guaranteed kills. This is going to be great just for her, but also as just a team-up ability for other heroes. You can just imagine this with Hawkeye, and then other ultimates maybe. Talking of Iron Man, you can just picture putting down the ult, slowing people down, and then Iron Man using his ult to annihilate an entire team. So she is looking, at least from the trailer here, to be a very strong hero, similar to most DPS in this game, just from the new ones that we've seen recently. And then moving on to our next character here, we have Cloak and Dagger. Now this is actually quite interesting because they are technically two characters, but also one. This is a brand new strategist hero. And first off, we have Dagger here. One of their main abilities, first off, is the ability to swap between each other. So you can switch to Cloak or Dagger respectively, depending on what you want to do. It seems that Dagger is going to be mainly focused on the healing aspect, and then Cloak is going to be mainly around damage and support in some way. So first off, for the primary fire here for Dagger, she throws out these daggers which seem to track towards nearby enemies, and then she also has one of her main abilities, this ability to throw out 3 daggers, which then create this little dome around where they land. Don't know what this dome actually does apart from maybe protect people, but then also later on in the trailer we do see she shoots out this wall of healing. So if you hit an ally with this, it seems to give a little bit of a health boost, maybe a healing overtime style of effect. So she has 2 main ways of healing there. Don't know if the dome heals or not. Then going over to Cloak, who once again you are able to switch to freely. Doesn't seem to be a cooldown or anything, so you can just swap between Cloak and Dagger whenever you want. The main ability that changes is instead of getting the 3 daggers and you throw a dome, you instead are able to float and like whoosh your cloak around to then kind of go into a ghost-like form and be able to freely fly. Also, the wall attack changes from a light healing wall to a purple blinding wall, and then his primary fire also changes to a Scarlet Witch style of like auto-aiming beam. Now, a little bit later on the trailer, we do actually see a Star-Lord get hit with this blinding wall, so you can see what it looks like from the other end. Basically, unable to see pretty much anything. Obviously, because Star-Lord's ult allows him to have auto-aim, the ult still takes effect and will auto-aim onto targets. But if a character does get blind by this, this will be your basic amount of vision under that effect, which is kind of cool. And just to go back to his flying ability real quick, if you use this near allies, it also seems to have them go into the same ghostly state. And with this, you're able to apparently avoid enemy ultimates. As you can see here with the Doctor Strange ult, the characters near him, when he does go into that fly state, do seem to go invincible as well. So that's a neat little bit of supportive there from the Cloak character. And then finally for the ult, honestly, I have no idea what this does apart from they dash together. I don't know if that increases their hitbox or what, but they're able to dash and they leave behind this starry night sky style of trail. They just surround the enemy team, so I don't know if this is kind of like a visual blocker, like a wall kind of thing. Obviously Moon Knight on their team is able to shoot through this, so it's not a solid wall, but kind of more like a smoke screen style of ult, which would be interesting to see. I hope that this does a little bit more than just block line of sight, but obviously we aren't able to see much from the trailer here. And then finally here we have Wolverine, who is surprisingly a duelist hero. I for sure thought that he was going to be a Vanguard unit like the other tanks, but he is a duelist, so that's in total 4 duelists revealed in these last couple trailers and a strategist, so no new Vanguard units sadly. But in terms of Wolverine's main abilities, first his primary attack is of course his claws, so he just goes in and melees you with those things, and whenever he deals or receives damage, he seems to build up this rage meter, which you can see just underneath that reticle there. When it gets to 100, it goes red, and he goes red. Don't know what this actually does to him generally, apart from making him glow a bit. Maybe it increases his damage, maybe reduce cooldowns, no idea, but looks really, really cool. And then for his first major ability, he has this dash forward, which then does a slash attack at the end of it. Pretty self-explanatory there. Then for his next major ability, he has this leap forward, which then allows him to grab an enemy up into the air and then actually slam down with them. And then it seems that when he lands, his normal attacks, so his claws, gain increased fire rate. Don't know if that's tied to this ability, but whenever he does land when using this ability, he does just get faster attack speed, so interesting note there. Then for his next ability, it seems to be a brief period of invulnerability, so you can see him just tanking 2 ultimates here, and then diving on the Iron Man. It seems that when his health pool goes to 0 when in this state, he doesn't actually die, he just receives a little bit of extra bonus health here. And then when the state ends, all that bonus health is converted into actual HP. So very interesting. Don't know how that actually properly works, obviously, because we don't know the full details of it from the trailer here. And then finally for his ultimate, he seems to launch people up into the air. He then jumps and then pile drives all of them down into the ground. And whenever he lands, makes a huge area of effect attack. Really, really cool looking. Seems to do a lot of AoE damage, so you can just launch either one enemy into the air and then land on a whole group of people. Really, really cool stuff. And then obviously they end off the trailer here by showing the Fastball special pair-up ability there with Hulk. So you're just able to have Hulk throw Wolverine, and he seems to do the whole leap where when he lands, he gains that increased attack speed. No idea, but looks really, really funny. So I'm definitely going to be trying that out on launch day. And yeah, that's everything for today's video. You got Twitch drops, free download info, and all those brand new characters. Once again, super excited to jump in when this game officially launches on Friday. And yeah, that's everything I want to talk about today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe. That's everything for me here today. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.